With the Blair Witch sequel now in theaters, I'm going to compare both the current and the original film. I am the ranting usher. Let me talk you to your seat. First, allow me to recap the Blair Witch mythos. Ellie Kedward immigrated to the States from Ireland in 1785. She settled in what was once the town of Blair and is now Burkittsville, Maryland. Accused of witchcraft by the townsfolk, Kedward was tried, convicted, and banished into the Blackwoods Forest, where she was supposedly executed. Many people disappeared after Kedward was banished. The townsfolk believe she abducted them into her house and slaughtered them in the basement. The legend remains consistent in both the current and original film, albeit with some mixed variations about what the Blair Witch looked like. Mary Brown, an interviewee in the 1999 documentary who claimed to have an encounter with the Blair Witch, described her as being tall, thin, covered in fur, and having an oddly contorted face. In the 2016 version, it was noted that one could not so much as glimpse the witch without dying of fright. The former gives us a bizarre, ape-like image to cling to, while the latter leaves the question of Kedward's appearance entirely open to self-interpretation. This is certainly creative from an imaginative standpoint. However, presenting such an ominous antagonist without descriptive detail is lazy filmmaking. The plots of both Blair Witch films mirror one another. They each involve young adults venturing into the Black Forest with camera equipment. That director Adam Wingard created a sequel that was nearly a frame-by-frame replica of Daniel Myrick's and Eduardo Sanchez's Blair Witch Project is disappointing. However, there are intriguing differences between the two films. The '99 version is based on documentation of the witch and the hysteria of getting lost in the woods. The sequel is about finding Heather Donahue. That Heather may still be alive, according to a YouTube video uploaded 17 years later, and that her brother James is desperate for closure, gives us a reason to become emotionally invested in the sequel. When Heather films herself apologizing to everyone for the documentary, she never mentioned her brother. We didn't even know he existed. A sequel may come with creative license, but not at the expense of tying both films together at the last minute. I must shout out a spoiler alert. I am about to go over the 2016 ending. The setup that Heather may still be alive never pays off. We are given hints that she might still be inside the house, but she is never found. Why would filmmakers focus so heavily on finding Heather at the beginning if it's never going to happen? At least the first film stayed consistent in that the mythos concerning the witch's methods when killing her victims came true. Some intriguing concepts are woven into the 2016 version, such as the Slender Witches, whom were introduced as people possessed to do the witch's bidding. That adds a uniquely frightening dimension to the film, so props for that. A rumor is circling around the internet that Heather may have become a Slender Witch herself. That is interesting, however, it is no more than speculation. Depiction of the Blair Witch as a supernatural force of nature, capable of possession, as well as manipulating both time and the forest, is fascinating. That would explain why we don't see the witch in her physical form. It's also a much more creative reason for our characters to get hopelessly lost in the woods, as opposed to Mike kicking the map in the creek. However, this idea is so subtly implied that it can easily be missed. If you have an extraordinary idea for supernatural theme, then why not use it as much as possible? The horror elements in the 1999 film are subtle too, but at least there is no misinterpreting what directors Merrick and Sanchez are trying to portray. When you see the rocks, the stick figures, and especially this, you know that the Blair Witch has a physical form and that she is terrorizing our characters. That brings me to scare tactics. The 2016 Blair Witch has some genuinely frightening sequences. One in particular is when a girl crawls underneath a house and tries to escape through a sewer tunnel. She gets stuck there, and you can feel every claustrophobic second of that scene. Those scenes are few and far between. The film relies on far too many jump scares. The technique might work 2 or 3 times, but after the 15th, we're not scared anymore because the jump scares are easy to anticipate. The scare tactics in 99 are more profound, more effective, and resonate longer. The Blair Witch Project, although a documentary, is also a psychological thriller. We get inside our characters' heads. We are right there with them as they experience trauma after trauma. No jump scares needed. The 2016 film is fast-paced, leaving little room for character development. With the group venturing into the forest larger than before, it's hard to care about all of them. With a slower pace, the characters are allowed to open up and develop individually throughout the documentary, making it easier to care about them. The cinematography is awkward and distracting in both films. We expect a wobbly camera from the first group. We know they are amateurs. The current group members are more technologically advanced. They construct a drone to help navigate them through the forest. Ironically, they are less adept at film. Their camera doesn't just shake or wobble. It flies all over the place. Blair Witch 2016 has potential to be better than the first film, but it puts too much emphasis on resembling what has gone on before. It is filled with poor cinematography and unsympathetic characters. I prefer the 99 version. Being the first found footage film, it sets the standard for which all other films of its genre will be judged. On a scale of 1 to 5, I give Blair Witch 2016 a 2.5. The Blair Witch Project gets a solid 3. Do you agree with my review? How would you compare the Blair Witch films? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you for watching the video. I am the Ranting Usher. As always, feel free to leave a like, share, or subscribe to my channel for reviews of movies, trailers, TV shows, also tributes, top 5 countdowns, and speculations. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you next time.